We are officially 2 weeks away from Unstoppable Women. Oh my goodness, the nerves are present, the excitement is absolutely palpable, and I cannot wait to be in the room with over 100 incredible women. If you haven't got your ticket yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I hope that you are free that day. I hope that you've got it in your calendar and you're just waiting for that last minute, because I know that I've been a last minute person in the past. So if that's you, zero judgment, just get your ticket and get prepared for an incredible day, because it is going to be phenomenal. I have such an incredible day planned. I've planned that every single minute of the day, and the speakers that are going to be gracing the stage are going to shift something within inside you that is going to change the trajectory for your business for the rest of the year. So if you are needing that boost of inspiration, motivation, and absolute identity shift, because that's what we're here for. We're not here for playing small. We are here to stand up and show up unapologetically. So if you are ready, book your ticket ASAP, because ticket sales will close the day before and you have only got a few more days to book your spot. So come and join us at Unstoppable Women, happening at the Brisbane Convention Centre on the 29th of August. The link is in the show notes. Grab your ticket now before you dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Next Level Life podcast with Christine Corcoran. This podcast is made for the powerhouse businesswomen who are ready to ignite their fullest potential. This is where we will dive deep into the mindset breakthroughs and sprinkle in some kick up the butt motivation so you can scale your business with confidence and clarity. Whether you're craving more income, impact, or inspiration, this podcast will be your ultimate resource for all things next level. Listen in as we have authentic conversations with game-changing female entrepreneurs as we reveal the secrets of what it takes to rise and thrive. So go ahead, ignite your inner fire, and let's get you taking massive aligned action. Are you ready to elevate? Let's go. Hey, welcome to today's episode. I wanted to do a standalone episode all about organizing this event, because I've had some questions behind the scenes around what it's taking to create an event like this, and it is definitely the biggest event that I've ever done. And I want to just communicate what that means, because there has been so much happening behind the scenes that I would love to share with you, because I want to create a space where you feel this is also possible for you too. And I also want to be super transparent with the challenges that have come along the way, with the way that I think about the event, the way that I prepare for the event, and everything that goes along with it. So this is not the first conference that I've done. I will say that, because it's also been a question that I've had. This is the biggest type of event that I've done in this way. So previously I've run conferences with other people. So Rosie and I, my beautiful friend, we ran the Rise Up conference 2 years in a row, and it was for more than a group. I think it was like 30 to 40 people. I can't remember the exact numbers, to be honest. I'd have to go back and look at the ticket sales, but it was about 30 to 40 people. And so that was incredible. Loved that. Then I've run workshops every year, a couple of workshops, and I've obviously run retreats as well. And then I've also run the Love What You Do collective events, which ran in Brisbane for 3 years. And they were evening events, and they were, again, between 40 to 80 people. So we had some events that were around like 30 to 40, and then some of the bigger ones for the end of year became bigger, and they were, I think, around 80 to 90 people. So this one will be the biggest event that I've run on my own, with this intention of being also a full day event. And so there's been a lot of planning that's gone into place to create this experience for everyone. And so when I say this is absolutely challenging me, I want you to know like how well it's challenged me, but I also want you to know the mindset that I've adopted in the preparation for this event. So when I set out to create this event, this is something that's been on my heart for a few years now, and I've been really working on creating something phenomenal, and I feel like the little pieces need to fall into place for the puzzle to work together, for it all to come together. And I definitely feel like the universe has had my back every step of the way. So previously to running the Love What You Do collective events, I had a desire to create a full in-person day experience. And then I ran the Rise Up conferences with Rosie, which were amazing. And then I really wanted to challenge myself to do this on my own. And so then I spent a lot of time going to other events and seeing what else was around, and attending other events in Brisbane and in Gold Coast and Melbourne. And what I found across the board was very much this conference vibe, right? We sit down, we listen to speakers, we take a bunch of notes, and we go home with maybe a couple of connections. And there weren't really beautiful experiences the way that I've experienced events in America. When I experienced events in America, it changed the game for me. I was like, this is how events should be run. And I also learned so much from it, from connections that I've made and how they think about events. And then I've also wanted to learn things like what I did like and what I didn't like, and how I would do things better. And so I've always been curating this list of things and what I wanted to bring to an event. And so I basically decided to sit down last year and was like, I'm going to bring this event to life. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to fund it, but I'm going to figure out a way and I'm going to make this happen. And so towards the end of 2024, I started to look for venues and I looked at everywhere. Oh my God, the venue hunt was intense. And a lot of the hotels, I remember like looking for event spaces. Previously, when I ran Love What You Do, I always used to be on the lookout for really good venues because running events in a profitable way was really challenging because of the costs of venues, because they would want to charge, if you wanted any type of food, they wanted to charge $100 a head for any type of food. They wanted to charge a room fee. And basically, for you to run an evening event was going to cost me way more than what I was going to make from it. And so to be able to charge a reasonable price point for tickets, and back then, like for the 3 years that I ran events, and I finished them in 2021. So what's that? 2019, or maybe, 2019, 2020, and 2021. Back then, there was not a lot of events that were charging good prices. Everyone was charging very, very little. So there was like meetup events and there were other type of business events, and it was a big gap. There was like events that were charging $11, like listen to that, $11 to attend a networking event versus like business chicks charging $200, right? For like a breakfast or something. And even like I remember attending the business chicks conference. I think they had like a 2-day conference and it was actually at the convention center where I'm hosting Unstoppable Women. And that was a really good event. I actually quite liked that, but it was very different to what I'm creating. But it was like, how can I create something that's really something that sets the event space apart for business owners? And back to my story. So back then charging, like I remember $30 and then I would increase it to $40 and then I put it up to $50. And that was like a massive jump for people. It caused people to pause and be like, oh, should I book that event? And it became really challenging to price the event that made people want to attend on a regular basis because it was a monthly thing. And so people started to think about it like, oh, a monthly investment, right? And so it was so interesting. There were so many lessons that I learned through running those events. And I met some incredible people, had some great speakers, and I created a reputation that when you came to one of my events, you were very much surrounded by beautiful, genuine women that wanted to create a beautiful connection. So people came along and felt seen and heard and supported, and they just loved the experience of it. And I always like to finish the event with a beautiful visualization. And I had the clarity cards, which really created opportunities for connection and also deep inner self-reflection. And so I just loved it. Like it was a beautiful experience. But running them every single month was really bloody challenging. And so I stopped doing them at the end of 2021, or the middle of 2021, because my dad got really sick and I got stuck in Victoria with the COVID lockdowns. And I was stuck there for like 7 months. So I couldn't really run them in Brisbane when I was obviously stuck living in Victoria. And so when I came back, I was like, I don't think I'm going to run them anymore. My business went in a different direction, but I've always had on my heart to run a full day transformational event with other incredible speakers. And so when it came to after attending events in America last year, I was like, okay, it's time. It's time. Put your money where your mouth is, start looking for venues again. And when I started looking for venues then, the prices, holy shit, like it went from previously looking at event spaces a couple of years earlier, which were like around, say, $8,000 to $10,000 to hire a room and to have food and whatnot. It went from that to $20,000 to $30,000. Like it doubled in price. Like look at that for inflation. It blew my freaking mind when I was getting quotes from like the W Hotel and like all these incredible places when they were like, oh yeah, you have to have a minimum of this many rooms booked and you have to have a minimum of this many people and you have to like, it's like 50K. And I'm like, what? No. And so I had to keep looking and I had to keep bargaining and I had to keep like questioning the price point and what's involved and what do we get and all of that. And I wanted to also make a statement because I don't want it to be the same as people thinking it like it's a conference. And even I had a go at one of the speakers the other day. I mean, she's a friend of mine, so it was okay. And she called it a conference and I was like, if you keep calling it a conference, it's not a conference, it's an event, because I don't want people to expect to walk in and sit around tables and have boring conversations at a surface level that go nowhere. That's not what this is about. And so I wanted to create something different. And so when I went and looked at the rooms at the convention center, I was like, because I knew exactly what I had in my mind, right? Of like what I wanted the experience to be. And the rooms that I wanted, and then the dates that I was looking at, I looked at all these dates at the beginning of the year. And then I locked on a date in May. I started to reach out to the speakers that I really wanted for the first event, Erica Kramer being one of them, Tina Tower being another one of them, and they couldn't do that date. Actually, no, Tina could do the date, but Erica couldn't. And I was like, oh, and then that beginning of the year moved so fast that I was like, I got to the point to try and confirm speakers. And I remember thinking 3 months is not enough time to promote this. So I actually had to pull the pin on that date and look for another date. And so obviously then I looked for September, being after winter, and they didn't have any September dates that were available that weren't a Monday. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing a Monday. And so then the date, or only closest date around that, would be the 29th of August. So I was like, okay, let's lock that one in. And I then contacted Erica again, and she's like, yep, I can do that date. And then Tina was like, yep, I'm in to change that. That's awesome. We can do that date. And so then I was like, okay, game on, let's do this. And then I reached out to my beautiful panel, like all of it started to flow in beautifully. And then even like, it was so interesting because that first date in May, the hotel that's closest to the venue to make it easy to walk to and from the venue where I wanted to stay was booked out. And so I was like, that's why it was also like, it feels like it shouldn't be this hard. And then when I booked the new date, it was available. And I was like, oh, see, it's meant to be. And since then, it has been so phenomenal of how things have felt like they flow beautifully, like this is going to all come together beautifully. But I say that without also saying it also has been very challenging. So I'm going to go through the challenges with you as well. Okay, so the mindset that I've adopted through this process is trust, like just a whole level of trust, of like trusting that it'll all come together, trusting we'll find the right vendors, trusting that the money will come through, trusting that everything will just work out in our favor, because the vision for this event is what's most important. It's what I've held dear to, and I've spent a lot of energy visualizing, manifesting exactly what I want to have happen on that day. And so even when challenges have arisen that have been frustrating, that have been stressful, that have been overwhelming, like all of that, I'm still coming back to the mindset of it'll all work out. It'll all work out in the end. I know that sounds a little bit like nonchalant, but I must say it's because of the power of my mindset that I've done to cultivate that strong growth mindset and a level of trust in my business and in money and in knowing that I will be able to figure it out. I've figured out everything up until now in my business. And I know that even though the next level feels uncomfortable, and it's also acknowledging too, like this level of expansion, I don't expect to come without challenge, right? I know it's going to stretch me. So when that stress arises or the fear arises, I'm acknowledging it and I'm choosing how I want to approach it. So I'm like, I could get caught up in self-doubt and fear. Like I have changed my part of the keynote. So throughout the day, there'll be a section in the morning that I take people through, and then there'll be my actual keynote. And then in the afternoon, I'm doing a whole other section on developing your network intentionally. And that's more of a masterminding session that I'll be doing with everyone. I've changed my keynote probably 3 times and I'm still questioning it. And I recognize that that's part of my process, but I also recognize that it's also a level of fear and imposter syndrome showing up because of who I'm also going to have on that stage. I care so much that it actually resonates with people and that it's what people really need to hear. And it's also going to be valuable, right? So I feel like it's been a mix of those two things, like part of my process to fine tune and get better at it and get really clear on what it is that I want to communicate. And secondly, that it is an element of like stepping up and knowing that it's part of this expansion, that there is going to be that challenge and expectation of a higher standard. And so I'm using it to challenge myself to do things differently and so what I mean by that is I'm really good at winging things. So I very much, like, you know how I can talk myself out of everything and into everything. And I have run a lot of training programs where I have taken the time to detail out programs. I have created obviously my program, and I also know the hell what I'm talking about, right? Because I talk a lot on the podcast. I talk to a lot of my clients. I have run presentations, keynotes, all of that in the past. I am still getting much better at it though. So I must say that, like, I don't feel like I'm at the point where I know that I'm great at keynoting, but I'm definitely getting better at speaking. And so in the past, if I've got a presentation coming up, I can leave it to last minute, pull all the slides together, pull what I want to talk about together, and still deliver really great value for people. But that has also been a crutch of mine, that I leave it to the last minute and sometimes wing it. Unless people are paying me for it, I must say that. If they're paying me to put on a presentation, I really do take the level of care and dedication to put together a perfect presentation that's going to be for them and really personalized for them and their community. So I must say that because I don't want people to think that I wouldn't put that dedication energy into that. Absolutely. But if it's something else where I'm doing a free speaking gig, or I'm doing something where I am doing an Instagram live or a podcast or a presentation, an online challenge, whatever it might be, webinar, I know, because of my skill set, I know that in the past, I've got evidence of the proof from the past that I've done it before. So I know that if I put a little bit of that pressure and a little bit of deadline in place, I will pull it together. And I can trust that for myself. But that's also been a bit of a crutch, which means I did not want to go into this event being unprepared, because that is also the flip side of that. When you are winging it, sometimes it doesn't fully land the way you want it to land because you haven't taken the time to really curate the experience of the listener. And so I've taken the time to really curate every part of my keynote, the welcome, the closing statements, the speaking about the sponsors, the setting up each speaker, like taking the time to truly curate every part of this event has definitely been a level up for me, right? So it's been challenging, it's been frustrating, it has been something that I've learned to like build into my habits. So I'm taking the time to dedicate and have the discipline around that as well, which is really challenging. So, because, sometimes at the end of the day, I've marked out on my calendar that I'm going to do a practice run of a certain part of the day. And, you get tired. By the end of the day, sometimes it's the last thing that I want to do. But what I've started to do is actually, and I'll take this from Taylor Swift, is get on my treadmill and start doing it while I'm on the treadmill, because I'm obviously working on my fitness as well. So I've got endurance for the day and I'm also wanting to look good. So I'm working on the strength. And so I've been on the treadmill talking it out loud and going through my slides so I can really build that muscle memory. And so the reason why I'm saying that is because it is absolutely still a work in progress. And that mindset has always been like, yes, I can figure it out and I will always figure it out. So no matter what the challenge, I'm ready and willing for it, right? And I feel like that growth mindset has absolutely served me in the whole process of building this event and organizing it all. So let me talk about the challenges that have come up, because I know you probably want to hear about those as well. So finding the venue is great. They were really good. Working with the venue, challenging. So as you know, Brisbane Convention Centre, incredible venue, as well as they have a full team. They run huge exhibitions. So I'm not sure whether they look at my event being a small compared to what they run, which is hugely successful exhibitions and massive things. But technically, like 100, 150 people is probably small pittance for them. But for me, it's not. Like, for me, it's like, this is so freaking important to me. And so I've had a little bit of passiveness come from them that I'm like, hey, like, stop pushing back and actually work with me on this. So there's definitely been some challenging conversations that I've had along the way with the venue. And but they're coming around, so they're doing well. So we'll get there. Finding the right vendors for like stage design, getting across and communicating my vision for what I want the stage and entrance to look like has also been really, really challenging. I have not really, I found someone now, which is amazing, and they've been really great, and they feel like they understand my vision, and they came back to me with some really great ideas, and I was like, yes, thank gosh. And leading up to that, I went through many and was like, oh, am I ever going to find someone that actually sounds like they care about this, that actually understands my vision, and that does not want to charge me thousands of dollars just to deliver it? Like, I went through everything from all the different prop places, like just crazy, right? And so that has definitely been frustrating. Then the other thing as well has been like fine tuning every part of the day, and the pricing has been the hardest, like trying to price this event and then doing different pricing tiers and then introducing different price points throughout the time that the tickets are on sale. I've learnt a lot through that for sure. And then the biggest part about it has been the marketing of it and challenging it, because it's literally like having a whole other separate business. So I've still been running my existing business, my one-on-one coaching clients, my containers, my masterminds, still running all of that. And I have my team, but this event has very much been myself and my sister. And so very much throughout this period of time as well, like knowing that the budget is quite big, as I said, and we need to bring in the ticket sales to cover the budget. And so I've worked out, and this came from Lindsay Schwartz, who I had on the podcast earlier this year. She talked about how she does a tiered budget for regards to her events. And so I borrowed that from her and love the breakdown of that. Of like, okay, how can we have like the things that we truly want in the event as the baseline of the budget? And then the next tier up is the really things that we would like to have that would improve the experience. And then the top tier being the third, where you would get the highest level of ticket sales, which would be all the nice things, all the luxuries, all the things that would be like, not necessary for the experience, but would be really cool, right? And so I've just been really disciplined with that. And so like, for instance, I wanted to have a photographer and a videographer. And again, finding a videographer, actually finding a female videographer has been really challenging. That was also in my price range. So next year I'm going to try and look harder and trying to find someone, because I could not find someone that was in my price range. And so I have found someone, but it is a guy, and he's going to do the video and the photos, which is amazing. So he's doing that together. And then initially though, I was going to get a videographer separate and then a photographer. So I had two people going around getting the content that we need. And so obviously that's a high investment, but the ticket sales aren't really where I want them to be based on that budget, right? The tiered budget. I was like, okay, so in that first tier was like videographer, because I know the video content goes further than the photos. And then the next tier up is photographer. And so then the next tier up from there is an extra content person. And so I was like, how can I make this work? Because I really want both of them, but we actually had to make the decision of like, we can't have both. For the first event, we just can't have both. What else? Like there's so many different things that we were like, okay, it's not going to happen, because we just have to be super conscious of making sure that the budget does not blow out, because with events, it absolutely can blow out. And so when I thought about the experience of it, I was like, okay, stage design is really important. That is also super expensive. Like when you look at stage designers, there is such a scale, like there's so many at so many different price points. And some of them I found were really expensive for very little. So I was like, you're giving me a bunch of props. You're going to drop them off. You're going to expect that I'm going to put them together to make them look okay. And you're going to charge me $3,000 for what? Like, and it was basic stuff that even didn't look great together. So it almost like they had zero effort or concern or care about what it would look like. It was just like, yeah, these are some of the props that we've got. They'd go well together. Here's an image. And I'd be like, that is so boring. You do not understand my vision. And so once we finally found someone through searching through Instagram, we've gone through so many different conversations with different people, and we found someone on Instagram, and they seem to be amazing, and they look like they do beautiful stuff. So I cannot wait to see what they put together on the day. We've got a mock up, and then obviously I'm just leaving it to them to really curate it. So then obviously they're more creative than I am in that space. So I'm going to leave that up to them. And what else? Oh, then we have some beautiful volunteers that are coming to support us. And so putting the volunteer call out was honestly the best idea. I'm so glad we did that. And I'm so excited for the beautiful women that are coming to support, because they are so excited and so pumped. So I can't wait. Okay, what else was really challenging? Managing that budget, because the thing is too, like you have to invest into it in order for it to sell. So investing in taking the time to create content, like this was a whole other content machine. Like, as you know, I have my Instagram, then I have my podcast Instagram. I created a whole other Instagram. I created a whole other web page for this event. And I created another separate web page for the speakers to pitch to them. And so there was a lot that went into the preparation beforehand just to get the right people on board. And then, so yeah, spending so much time and energy and money in getting content created was really like a constant struggle every single week of like, oh gosh, I've now got to create more content for next week and the week after. And finding new ways to communicate the value of this event has also been really challenging. But I also feel like I found my stride with it now, because I know what this event is truly about. And so it's really helped me hone my messaging for it as well. But I also must say, like the budget of like investing in Facebook ads, because the thing is like to get the ticket sales, I didn't want to have to just rely on my Instagram getting the reach, because that's like so hard, as you probably know. And so I did my best to curate a beautiful Instagram account, and then got some Facebook ads running. And so we've been running Facebook ads pretty much the whole time. I think I took one break at one point where I was just super busy with other stuff and just basically paused them for a bit and then started them again. In my hindsight, I should have kept them going. Actually, just should have kept them going, because at the time, people weren't buying tickets from what I could see from the Facebook ads. But I now look back at it and go, that was actually prime time to prime people to buy tickets once the ticket sale prices went up. But because what we did is actually had a period of time, I don't know, I have to look back and actually look at it, but like I think it was possibly 3 weeks. In that time, there was another event that was announced that a lot of people started booking tickets to. Now, if my Facebook ads had kept going at that time, they may have chosen my event over another one. So it's just a lesson in that of like run Facebook ads continuously, like, and continue to update them, get new content coming through. So it's creating that buzz and energy. And I probably could have put more money behind it, to be honest. I could have put more money behind the Instagram ads, but that was the challenging piece of like, okay, I can't keep pouring money in from my business into the event because I want to see that the event runs on its own. So I was looking at it as a separate business. And then once I had ticket sales come in, then I'd put more money towards Facebook ads. And so it was almost like a chicken before the egg kind of conversation. And so that was really challenging very much to be like, okay, now I've got to put the deposit down for the event space and I don't even have the money yet from the ticket sales to do that. So I had to pay that and be like, ugh, and just swallow it and then hope that the ticket sales would come in. And it's honestly having faith, like having faith that yes, people will buy. And that is like the hardest space to sit in because you just don't know for sure. And so I was like, well, what are we going to do if we can't fill the room? And like thinking about all the different contingencies and then thinking about different ways to market the event. And then recently, like I asked a whole bunch of people that had already booked tickets to do Instagram lives with me, which have been such a good idea. I wish I had had that idea earlier. I wish I had had that idea earlier. I wish I was doing that back in June and July to create more buzz and awareness about the event. I left that way too late. So that's a big lesson in itself. The next thing is a piece of advice that I was given from, again, Lindsay Schwartz, who runs Powerhouse Women. And she said to me, don't rely on the speakers to fill your spots. And I remember thinking, like, I get that because I've done that before in the past where I've had events and thought, oh, I'll get this speaker and everyone will flock to this event, right? And it never worked out like that. And so you've got to also recognize that you're the one doing the most level of promotion because it's your event. You cannot expect other people to promote it. You can ask and you can ask for that support, but you cannot expect it. So at no point have I ever felt like, oh, why are they promoting this event? I'm always like, how can I tag them? How can I create content that would make them want to share it? That's honestly what I always came back to because I was still tagging and adding them as collaborators on Reels and doing my best to create content that they would be like, oh, that's cool. I want to share that. And also I feel like getting this beautiful group of incredible women on this stage, they all want to share it because they believe in the vision of it. I honestly believe that that's what it is having a really strong vision for the event and sharing that vision with them right from the beginning of like what I'm wanting to create and curate. And I feel like that's actually been the biggest thing that makes people want to share it. The other interesting thing that's been really fascinating to me, which I feel like is why I want to talk more about the tall poppy syndrome and talk about this at the event, is even when I've asked for people to share the event, they haven't, or I haven't seen that they have. So they might be, because I know that this Instagram changed this thing that you don't actually often see people who share your stuff unless they've properly tagged you. So they could be sharing the post to a story, but I don't get tagged in that just from the share unless they've physically tagged me. And so if you've shared it, thank you so much. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate it so much. If you've shared it through word of mouth, like just saying, hey, I'm going to this event. Do you want to come? Or, hey, did you hear Christine's running this event? Like if you've shared it in any way, honestly, thank you so freaking much. It means the world to me. And you are the reason why we have an incredible group of people showing up because you've taken the time to share it. So honestly, appreciate it so much. And in saying that, I don't often hear like if people are sharing it. So some people have told me, they're like, oh, I'm telling everybody I possibly can, or I've sent it to my email list, or I shared it out on my stories, I put it on Facebook, like all of these types of things. I have heard from people, absolutely. And I've definitely seen some shares. But I intentionally asked people to share at the end of July and the beginning of August because I knew that this would be crunch time for people to make the decision to join and be a part of it. And yet no one shared. It was really interesting. Like I thought from here, I shared a heartfelt ask on my stories and no one shared it that I know of. And I'm like, why? Why is that? Like I do my best to try and support other people as much as I can. And I don't feel like this is a huge ask of people, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are too much in scarcity and they're fearful if they went and promoted my event, it would prevent their something, whatever they sell is going to mean that the people are going to spend money with me rather than with them. I don't know. I don't know if it's a bit of tall poppy. I don't know if it's scarcity, whatever it might be. But it was really interesting to me. But it's also an awareness of my own mindset too, because I was like, I don't have to expect that. Also, I don't have to feel bad about it or disappointed. I was just really interested. I was like, why? Why are people not sharing it? But I also know that after the event, people will share it. And I know that for next year, people will start talking more about it because once they've experienced it, then from there, I know that more people will hear about it, get excited about it, and also will want to share it because they will have proof of the pudding, right? They'll be like, oh, I went last year. It was amazing. You should come along. I know that will happen after the event, but people haven't been to it yet, so they don't know what to experience and what to expect. So really interesting kind of process. All right, what else? What else would you like to know? Building out the running sheet, the way that I'm thinking about this is like the experience of the emotional elevations that will happen throughout the day. And what often happens is like we have a real high in the morning because I'll have something exciting happen in the morning, and then we'll have some beautiful, powerful speakers, and then we will have lunch, and then we'll come back from lunch and we will have our beautiful competition winner, and then we'll dive into some other beautiful speakers, and then we'll have some masterminding sessions. But I know that straight after lunch is always the hardest because people are having a food slump because your stomach is processing your food. And so we want to make sure that we have an engaging speaker then, which I do. And then after that, which then hits like the 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock kind of slump that we always have. So that after part of the afternoon, they'll be doing something more interactive. So they're doing some masterminding sessions, which means people will be up there and talking rather than just sitting in their chair. And so I know that will keep the energy high. And then we finish with another incredible speaker that everyone will be like so blown away by. So I've really thought of every part of the experience. And yeah, it's so interesting because I'm like sitting here thinking, okay, what else do you want to know that I can share with you? But if you have questions about the event, like feel free to send me a DM because I'm more than happy to share more. It's just hard to know what you want to know about this. Yeah, booked the venue, went ahead with it, trusted in the process, took the action anyway, noticed whenever I got caught up in doubt or fear and just was like, okay, I can't trust that. I've got to just keep taking action. And that's what I was like, get into content, talk more about it. And then I also like intentionally book speaking gigs leading up to it in Brisbane on the Gold Coast to know that when people hear me talk about it, they want to be a part of it. So I needed to make sure that I prioritized that as well. And then doing obviously more podcasting as well. So, and obviously the book launch did help as well because I talked about the event there. But it's really interesting because like I've got people flying in from all over the country, which is just amazing. And yet there's still been some hesitation about people coming along, which is so fascinating to me. So anyway, everyone's got their own stuff. Everyone's got their own, decisions to make about what events they attend and what they're really looking for at the moment. But I know and I trust that the right people will be in the room. So if you have anything on your heart that you want to bring to life, please start taking action on it. Set a date, put the deposit down on the venue or whatever it is that you want to do and put the work in because I guarantee you will up level in the process. I did not know I would be capable of this until I am in the process of doing it. And yes, there have been challenges along the way. There's been hard conversations. There's been discipline, like all of the pieces. And yet I'm excited by it. I'm excited by it and scared by it all at the same time, every step of the way. So please, if you have anything on your heart that you want to bring to life, put a date on it and make it happen. It's so worth it. All right, lovely. I hope to see you at Unstoppable Women on the 29th of August. You haven't got long to get your ticket, so get your ticket and get in the room because, yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. Cannot wait to see you there. Thank you for listening. And if you found any value out of this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you get access to the episodes as soon as they are live. And make sure you come hang out with me on Instagram. You can find me at ChristineCorcoran_coach. Have an incredible week.